Creating a top 50 rappers of all time list is very controversial. Everybody has their own opinion, and it's impossible to include everybody. Here are my opinions on the newest top 50 list from Billboard magazine. I'll start with rappers that are too high on the list. Then I'll talk about rappers that are too low on the list. Then I'll talk about rappers that don't belong on the list at all. They really have no business being on this list. Finally, I'll talk about some of the questionable rappers on this list, and I will finish with rappers that are clearly better than many of the rappers on this list and should have been included. Rappers that are too high on the list. Nicki Minaj. She's just not a top 10 rapper of all time. She might belong somewhere lower on the list, but definitely not top 10. Scarface. Again, he is a great rapper, but I just don't think that he belongs that high on the list. Kanye West. Again, he just doesn't belong this high on the list. We are talking about all time here. This logic goes for a few others too. J. Cole, Kendrick Lamar, Snoop Dogg, Lil Wayne, and Jay-Z at number 1. These guys all have a spot on this list, however they just seem to be pretty high up there considering the history of hip-hop and all of the greats that are lower on the list, and all of the greats that are not even on the list. Now for rappers that are too low on the list. Jadakiss. You could argue that he is toward the bottom of this list. I don't think he should be near the bottom. I think he should be somewhere in the middle toward the top. But to put him so low on the list and to see some of the names ahead of him is really insulting. Busta Rhymes. The same logic comes into play here. He's just simply better than many of the names ahead of him. A lot of this is a generational thing, and many young people just don't realize how good some of these rappers that are now getting older truly are. The same can be said for Method Man. He is a great lyricist, one of the best. So a list like this loses credibility when you see rappers that are clearly not as good ahead of him. Big Pun. He is clearly better than this list makes him out to be. In fact, I have a hard time believing that the people that put this list together have even listened to some of his best stuff. Black Thought. This is the one that stuck out to me the most. Black Thought could run circles around every single person on this list. And not just in flow, but in content as well. He can write better than most, he can flow better than most, and he can freestyle better than anyone in the world arguably. There might be someone on some corner of the earth that is undiscovered that can spit better than Black Thought, but it's highly unlikely. Now for the rappers that don't belong on this list at all, in my opinion. Future. We are talking about a list here of the 50th greatest rappers of all time. It should not be hard to understand why Future doesn't on the list. There are so many rappers that are better than Future. This just seems like a pure generational play to attempt to appeal to a younger audience. There is absolutely no reality that should allow Future to be in a top 50 list. And to say that he's better than Mos Def, Jadakiss, and Redman is so laughable that it might be the most insulting thing on this list. I'm sorry, but you are living in an alternate universe if you think that Future is a better rapper than Jadakiss, Mos Def, or Redman. It's ridiculous. Gucci Mane. Again, to say Gucci Mane is better than those three that I just named is crazy. I'm not saying that it's bad to like a Gucci Mane song or a Future song or to even appreciate what those two guys have contributed to rap. But to put them on an all-time list ahead of those guys is just laughable. Dr. Dre. It's widely known that Dr. Dre does not write all of his lyrics. For that fact alone, he belongs on this list. There are just too many real MCs out there that write amazing lyrics. Dr. Dre should not get a courtesy entry on this list. I actually believe the same thing about Kanye West. Those guys are great producers and Kanye is a decent rapper. He's not my favorite, but I recognize that his work has a lot of meaning to people. I just don't think he belongs up there near the top. Rick Ross. His earlier career as a correctional officer and lying about it and stealing his stage name from the real Freeway Ricky Ross has killed all credibility in my eyes. The guy has shown repeatedly that he can't tell the truth. And there's been rumors that he has ghost writers. How do we really know how good he is? We can't take his word for it. The guy is a pathological liar. There are just too many good rappers in the world to include Rick Ross on this list. I'm sure there are more, but I touched on the main ones that I saw at first look. Now for the questionable rappers. These rappers are questionable in my opinion, because to me, I can easily replace them with people that aren't even included on this list. So some of them I think are too high on the list, some of them I think have an argument for being included but maybe lower, and some of them I personally wouldn't put on my list, but I could understand how somebody else could have them on their list. So I call them questionable. Ice-T. He's a great rapper. I don't know if he's top 50 great. Missy Elliott. Again, she has skills. Is she that high? That's debatable. Ludacris. Again, the dude has skills, or if he even belongs on it, he has sold a lot of records, but I'm just not sure where he belongs on this list, or if he even belongs on it. I already mentioned Kanye West. I think he at the very least belongs lower on the list. I'm not sure I would even have him on my top 50. Probably, but it would be low on the list. T.I. he has accomplished a lot, but I think top 50 is very questionable for him. Just because he calls himself the king of the South doesn't mean he is. In fact, I could probably name close to 50 rappers from just the South that are better than him. The last three are Q-Tip, MC Lyte, and Queen Latifah. All three have made enormous contributions to hip-hop. I know if they belong where they are on this list. So I put them in the questionable category. Now I'm going to talk about a quick list I made of some rappers that are clearly better than almost every single rapper that I named in the questionable or doesn't belong category. MF Doom, Inspector Deck, Guru from Gang Starr, AZ, Talib Kweli, Big L, Raekwon, Twista, Tech Nine, King Gordy, Cool G Rap, and probably the biggest snub of all this on this whole list in my opinion, arguably, is Prodigy of Mobb Deep. Prodigy is definitely one of the best rappers of all time, and I'm not just saying that because he passed away a few years ago. Lyrically, he is right up there with the best. So to see names like Gucci Mane, Future, Nicki Minaj, Rick Ross, and T.I. on the list, but not Prodigy, it's basically a slap in the face to older and educated hip-hop historians like myself. Let me know what you think in the comments. I would love to hear from you, and I would love to have a cool debate about it in the comments section. Also, another person I must mention is Cannabis. No explanation needed if you know your history. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.